Well, this is unfortunately the look of a woman who stood beside her man a little bit too hard. Because this is not a light accusation, this is not a light verdict, and the fact that she sat there with him through this entire court case, which we're about to break down, everything that she had to listen to, it's really no wonder she has that completely checked out, traumatized, disassociated look on her face, because that is the only way to react to news like this. That's the only way to react to what must have been happening and being said in that courtroom. Let's read and go through the coverage, and then we'll have some closing thoughts. And if you haven't heard yet, mine and Sovereign Woman and Quinn Beer's podcast is now live. We have 3 episodes up for y'all. Go find the podcast. The link is in my bio. I also have a Patreon, which gives you early access to episodes. Basically, the gist of the case is a woman who claimed mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor brutally raped and battered her in a Dublin hotel penthouse. She was awarded nearly 250,000 euros on Friday by a civil court jury in Ireland. I don't know how things work in Ireland, but just so y'all know, this number that you're seeing, this is not what this woman is going to take home. She will take home half of that if she's lucky. I just want to throw this out there as somebody who has been witness to settlement cases. You have to pay the lawyers. They usually take about a third. And then you have to pay taxes on it, up to like 40%. I digress. Nikita Hand said that the assault after a night of partying left her heavily bruised and suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. McGregor testified that he never forced the woman to do anything against her will and said she fabricated the allegations after the two had consensual schmecks. His lawyer called Hand a gold digger. Mind you, she's digging for all this gold. 6 years later, she has to disclose her real name in the lawsuit, go through all this court litigation, all this stuff. At the end of the day, she's not even seeing that whole entire sum of 250,000 euros. Like I said, she has to pay the lawyers and she has to pay taxes on that. Almost in any government, they're going to take a cut and the lawyers are going to take a cut. So I don't know what gold she's digging for, but any woman will tell you that it is not profitable to be digging for gold in these ways, okay? Because a lot of times you don't win. A lot of times the public maligns you. A lot of times you get dragged through the dirt and called a gold digger when you are just trying to get justice for what happened to you, that you didn't want to happen to you, that you didn't give consent to. I love the way they described him in this article. The fighter, once the face of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, but now past his prime, shook his head as the jury of 8 women and 4 men found him liable for assault after debilitating about 6 hours in the High Court in Dublin. The case was pretty cut and dry. He was mobbed by cameras as he left court, but did not comment. He later said on the social platform X, of course, that he would appeal the verdict and the modest award. But right then and there, that should tell y'all this man's a narcissist. The fact that he's trying to rub it in her face that this was just a modest award. Now, to most people, 250K, even after lawyer fees and taxes, is life-changing money. So no, this is not me contradicting what I said earlier, that it's not that much money, because it's not that much money if you had to be brutalized and raped for it, okay? Now, if it just fell out of the sky, that's not really a modest award, okay? If it just fell out of the sky, then it would be an award. First of all, this is not an award. It's an insult, right? It's like I violated you as a person, but here's like a sum of money. And the fact that he's calling it a modest award is like, yeah, see, this isn't really a punishment for me. This isn't really hurting me. It's a modest award to me. Hand's voice cracked and her hands trembled as she read a statement outside the courthouse saying she would never forget what happened to her, but would now be able to move on with her life. She thanked her family, partner, friends, jurors, the judge, and all the supporters that had reached out to her online, but particularly her daughter. Her lawyer told jurors that McGregor was angry about a fight he had lost in Las Vegas 2 months earlier and took it out on his client. He's not a man, he's a coward, attorney John Gordon said in his closing speech. A devious coward, and you should treat him for what he is. I'm going to take issue with this right away as a woman. He is a man, and he may be a coward, he may be whatever, but he's not just a man and a coward, he's a rapist, he's an assaulter, he's a violent human being. He would violate a person's body when they didn't give him consent. But he is a man. but he is a man. The fact that you're saying he's not a man, no, he is a man. You just called him a man. He is a man. And this is something that a lot of men do, okay? I'm not surprised that this attorney is also a man, because only men do this. Oh, he's not a man. Yes, he is. He's one of y'all. But men love to deflect and say that men who hurt women aren't men. They very much are men. They very much are. And this is why we say things like all men, because we can't say things like, oh, all cowards and stuff like that. That doesn't work. I'm sorry, but he's clearly not a coward, okay? Like, in a way, yes, but in a way also no, because he's an MMA fighter. He's a UFC champion. He's not a coward. He's not scared of getting hit in the face by other men. He just also gets off on having that power differential with women. He also gets off on raping and violating women. But he's not a coward. In fact, I think it's very uncoward-like of him to do what he did. He was very brazen about it, in fact. Her lawyer also said that his client never pretended to be a saint. People act like women are just not ever supposed to want to have fun, right? The same men who are like, oh, women won't sleep with us, there's a male loneliness epidemic, blah, 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 will be also the same men to say, well, you shouldn't have slept with him in the first place. If you didn't want him to violate you, why were you even in his vicinity? And it's like, yeah, this is why women are staying the fuck away from y'all, because we can't do anything right. We don't go around y'all, we're bad. There's a loneliness epidemic. When we do go around y'all and y'all hurt us, then it's always like, well, what were you doing there? Oh, so women are not allowed to have fun. Women are not allowed to enjoy a little flirtatious banter, right? Women are not allowed to just show up to somebody's house and not immediately be expected to open and spread their legs. Men are not lonely enough. With this reputation, y'all are not lonely enough. So when she sent McGregor a message through Instagram after attending a Christmas party, he said Han knew McGregor socially and that they had grown up in the same area. So it's really not that out of whack that she was like, hey, like, let's hang out. That doesn't automatically mean let's fuck, you know? But a lot of men take any sign of attention as that. He picked her and a friend up in a car and shared cocaine with them, which McGregor admitted in court. And since she told McGregor that she didn't want to have sex with him and that she was menstruating. She said she told him no as he started kissing her, but he eventually pinned her down on the bed and she couldn't move. McGregor put her in a chokehold and later told her, now you know how I felt in the octagon where I tapped out 3 times, referring to a UFC match when he had to admit defeat, she said. Han had to take several breaks in emotional testimony over 3 days. She said McGregor threatened to kill her during the encounter and she feared she would never see her young daughter again. Eventually, he let go of her. I remember saying I was sorry as I felt I did something wrong and I wanted to reassure him that I wouldn't tell anyone so he wouldn't hurt me again, she testified. He then said she let him do what he wanted and he had sex with her. A paramedic who examined Han the next day testified that she had never before seen someone with that intensity of bruising. A doctor told jurors Han had multiple injuries. Han said the trauma of the attack had left her unable to work as a hairdresser. She fell behind on her mortgage and had to move out of her house. Police investigated the woman's complaint, but prosecutors declined to bring charges, saying there was insufficient evidence and a conviction was unlikely. So just so y'all know, like, women do not do this for fun. Women do not go after men in cases like this for fun. This means they've exhausted every other resource. And the only kind of case they could bring was like one of those where you're asking for a sum in damages. A lot of prosecutors will look at a paramedic's report had said that she had never seen someone with that intensity of bruising, ever, and still be like, you know what, that's just not sufficient enough evidence that this man raped you and assaulted you. You could have done this to yourself just for fun. That women have to go through all these lengths and all this litigation and all of this lawyer back and forth just to be like, listen, you assaulted me. You threatened to kill me. You literally wouldn't take no for an answer. And these men will be like, I was just having a bit of fun. Like, don't you get it? Yeah, I don't know. That's just not enough evidence. McGregor, in his post on X, said he was disappointed jurors didn't see all the evidence prosecutors had reviewed. Testified that the two had athletic and vigorous schmecks, but that it was not rough. So the bruising, most intense bruising a paramedic had ever seen, that was not rough. He said she never said no or stopped and testified that everything she said was a lie. It is a full-blown lie among many lies, he said when asked about the chokehold allegation. Here's the part that really gets me. How could anyone believe that me, as a prideful person, would highlight my shortcomings? That's exactly what men do, by the way. That's exactly what men do. A lot of these men have a humiliation kink or have some sort of a rage kink where they do want to highlight their shortcomings, but in a different light. They would want to highlight their shortcomings exactly in the moment that they have that kind of power over somebody because they feel like that redeems it in their eyes. The truth is, you had to tap out against somebody your own fucking size. You had to tap out against somebody that you should have been picking a fight with. To tell a woman, a defenseless woman, that this is how I felt when I had to tap out, your bruised pride and ego is just about exactly the kind of thing I can imagine a prideful person, a prideful man especially, doing very easily. It'd be like water off a duck's back. It'd be that easy. And the lawyers were so worried about the jurors and their animus toward the fighter. You may have an active dislike of him. Some of you may even loathe him. There's no pretending. I'm not asking you to invite him to Sunday brunch. I feel like that should add to the woman's case, if anything. If people that don't even know you don't fucking like you because you're a fucking asshole, like, it totally makes sense that you would assault, rape, violate somebody. People that don't know you don't even like you. The defense said the woman never told investigators McGregor threatened her life. They also showed surveillance video in court. They said that the woman kissed McGregor's arm and hugged him as they left the hotel and said she looked happy, happy, happy. That's called a fawn response. That's called he told you he was going to kill you and you were worried you'd never see your child again. And you were like, no, everything's cool. I promise I'm not going to tell anyone. Yeah, I'm very happy. This is what women have had to do for thousands of years as men have brutalized and assaulted us. We also had to coddle their feelings, tell them that they're not a bad person afterwards, and apologize to them. So this is not anything fucking new, and every woman knows this. It is despicable that they would even show this as a defense when she already acknowledged it and clarified that she was afraid for her fucking life. And a lot of us know the same exact feeling. McGregor then had the nerve to say he was beyond petrified when questioned by the police and read them a prepared statement. So now he's scared. Now he's not prideful. Now he's not this big MMA UFC fighter. He's just a scared little boy. He knows he's done something wrong. That's why he was beyond petrified. He wasn't petrified when he was choking a woman out and holding her down and raping her and brutalizing her with bruising as bad as the paramedic had ever seen before. On the advice of his lawyer, he refused to answer more than 100 follow-up questions. So, come on. It's definitely the behavior of an innocent person, right? The jury ruled against Hannah in a case she brought against one of McGregor's friends, James Lawrence, whom she also accused of having sex with her in the hotel without consent. Sounds like it was even worse than the initial situation, and I'm going to bring it back to this. This is the face of a woman who just had to sit there and listen to all that. This look in her eyes tells me that not only does she know that most of this is true, that she knows beyond the shadow of a doubt that it's true. Also, by the way, this is what a narcissist's eyes will look like. That they just look black and like empty and void and without any kind of like concern or worry or anything like that. He's just worried about, let's get these fuckers out of the way and like move, I'm done with this. Meanwhile, she's literally disassociated and petrified. This is what a narcissist, a sociopath looks like after they've been convicted of something that they definitely did. This is exactly the face of a woman who knows that every allegation brought against this man today was not only true, but she probably has experienced this shit herself. Stay safe out there, ladies. I love you so much. Godspeed.